Let's bring in John Park to talk about these skyrocketing tensions. He's the director of the Korea Working Group at Harvard's Kennedy School of Business. John, let me get straight to the point. How close are we to a military confrontation, and have things been this volatile before with DPRK?
Well, as in blunt sort of direct terms here, I think it's a situation where we're looking at tensions that we frankly haven't seen at this high of a level before. There are a number of factors at play. One is a U.S. leader using direct communications in the open, where the U.S. government is trying to piece together how to coordinate that kind of message in the aftermath, and also the testing that's ongoing from the North Korean side. So the situation is very volatile, but the other piece of it is we have U.S.-South Korean military exercises. These are regularly scheduled every year that are upcoming in about 2 weeks' time. So the tensions are going to rise even further.
DPRK's provocative language, certainly nothing new. We've heard it time after time again. But this detailed plan to strike waters near Guam, how unusual is that? And why go through this detailed outline and announce it to the whole world?
I think for a lot of my colleagues, this is an effort by the North Korean side to signal to the U.S. that they are aware of preparations to have this military option ready. It's not to say that there's a certainty of military action. Certainly there are elevated levels of the likelihood of the use of military force. And if you look, as we just heard, Andersen Air Force Base in Guam bases the B-1B bomber, which many people believe would be involved if there is a surgical strike or some kind of military strike on North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile facilities. So it is a very particular target for the North Koreans, but very much from the angle of trying to signal, as we can try to piece together from the North Korean statements.
John, are you concerned that the North Koreans, the leaders in DPRK, would now have to back up this plan to sort of save face?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we have the U.S.-South Korean military exercises, Ulchi Freedom Guardian, coming up. We're going to be seeing the mobilization of U.S. and South Korean military forces for this exercise. And automatically, we usually see the North Korean forces also mobilized. So with this kind of statement, and whether the North Koreans will back it up or not, this makes every single move all that more contentious, because it doesn't look like it's something like a test. I think these type of efforts on either side will be viewed by the contending parties here as a potential use of force, and that's what makes the situation particularly volatile.
What about a catastrophic miscalculation by both sides? That certainly also is a big concern here.
Absolutely. The North Koreans aren't done with their ICBM and other missile testing, and we're also anticipating a 6th nuclear test at some point as well. So particularly in the missile launch and testing side, those are types of activities, if the North Koreans go ahead as they have in the regular past. You look at a track record that is fairly normal in terms of every 3 to 4 weeks, the North Koreans were conducting some kind of ballistic missile test. Now, in this heightened environment, those could be trigger points and lead to inadvertent escalation.
John, do you believe there have been mixed messages from this administration when it comes to DPRK? And finally, do you believe there is still room for negotiation?
Well, right now we've seen events happening so quickly. Last month alone, there were 2 North Korean ICBM tests, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. With the United States now increasingly within range of these capabilities on the North Korean side, we're in uncharted territory. So these kind of statements coming out, I think, are coming from a place of alarm and concern. And how we address this closing gap in terms of room for maneuver, this is something that we're trying to piece together in terms of a diplomatic off-ramp or something along those lines. But for this particular point in time, in the next few steps, we see a ratcheting up of tensions rather than de-escalation.
All right, we'll leave it there. John Park, as always, thank you so much, sir. And